Since my table skirt is angled in 10 degrees, in order to cut the slots for the hold downs, I've got to cut them at a 10-degree angle. So I built a jig to hold the pieces back at the right angle, and I've got a slot cutter set up in the RAS. I've got marks on my board where I need to cut. The height will be the same on all of them. I put stop blocks in so I can slide the jig back and forth to get the cuts that I need. I've already got them both aligned. Okay, I've got my depth stop set. I think I'm ready to go. Both of the long pieces will clamp in the same place. And I'll have to get reset up for the short pieces. I've got marks on my clamping jig to show where to place the long piece, but actually I don't even need that because I'm only going to unclamp it on one end. This piece underneath is at a 10-degree angle to hold the workpiece back at the right angle. And of course, a clamping jig, I cut a 10-degree angle across the face and just notched out the ends so I could get the clamps on there and not interfere with the fence. I'm still going to have to hold it because the jig is not clamped down, it's just butted against the stop. But it shouldn't be an issue. I got a little chatter on that one because the bottom support kicked loose, but it's still going to be fine. I cut some cawls with a 10-degree angle so I can clamp the skirt without the clamps trying to slip up. My plan right now is, once I get this assembled, to put splines in the corner for strength and for a little decorative touch. If it works out where I can do splines on the skirt, then I will come back and put matching splines on this. This is going to be the center portion, so it won't look so odd just having them on the skirt. We wind up with the cawls slightly glued to the workpiece. I can see some squeeze out back there, but hopefully they'll just pop right loose. Setting up my mortising table to cut the mortises in the top part of the legs. This will be the part that attaches to the skirt. Of course, the skirt is attaching to the tabletop. I marked each one because I've got to put the outside down, keep the inside up in order for the mortises to match up between the legs and the skirt, because the skirt will have to go with the outside down. So the idea is if the outside of the leg is to the table and the outside of the skirt is to the table, And the mortises should come out at the same height. I've already got the depth set. Got the mortising table clamped down. Just going to clamp the first leg in place and get started on lining up the very corner of the leg with the edge of the sliding table. Alright. I'm going to wait and cut the tenons after I get the mortises made. Cutting on the push seems to make it chatter a little bit. Cutting on the pull is a lot smoother. I had to make a practice cut to determine the depth of where to set this piece because of the weird angle. I wanted to go as deep as possible so that the tenon will be far enough into the piece, but I can't go too awful deep because the angle piece will hit the end of the bit where there's no cutter. But I got it figured out and set now. I cut a caul at 10 degrees back here so my clamp will catch it and not be sliding because I've got it angled. So my tenon will be 1/2 inch deep at the shallowest part. I'm set up to cut mortises on 4 of the legs on this side, or I should say 4 of the leg pieces. Each leg is 2 pieces. I cut a 10-degree wedge to go against the fence, so it'll give me the right angle on the piece out from the fence, and I cut a 10-degree wedge to go underneath this piece so it'll hold it up where the face is 90 degrees. Alright, looking good. 4 more to go on this side, and I'll have to swing the head to do the others. Cuts look nice and clean. They're cutting into the viscous a little bit, but I don't care about that. I'm going to get the splines in before I cut the mortises in here because the mortises may cut into the splines. I'm not sure exactly where they're going to fall. The setup process for this piece was basically the same as the last. The main difference is I cut these 10-degree strips to help hold this piece at the correct angle because it's angled 10 degrees And this part up here is flat, 90 degrees to the fence. I raised the blade slightly higher because my angled boards here are raising this piece up about 1/16 of an inch. I'm going to make a test cut and see if it's deep enough. Because of the angle on the bottom piece, and the blade may need to come up a little higher, but I want to get it out and see what I've got first rather than try to calculate how high I need to raise it, because I don't want to go too high with it. Took a little experimentation to get the depth of the splines where I wanted them, but got it and it's looking good. Having this piece angled made it a little more complicated than just a square piece, but I'm pleased with how it came out. In hindsight, I should have put these pieces on my jig with screws instead of glue, because I can see right now that once I use it a few times, my boards are going to be cut all up and they'll need to be replaced, and that's going to be a little tricky with since it's glued on. I may be able to just put a filler piece in here and then screw me some more pieces outside so I don't have to rebuild all this. I'll have to see if these little triangles out here will chisel off without damaging the other pieces too bad, but at any rate it worked well for this project, and I'll worry about rebuilding it on the next project.